Next up, Russ and I are going to review Trainspotting in 4K from Criterion.
Oh my God, the guys are so great.
Welcome back to 4K Kings. My name is Matt.
I am Ebert.
And welcome to your home for physical media, movie reviews, and so much more.
Today we're going to take a look at the film Trainspotting, a beloved slice of our childhoods. We both discovered this film at 14, loved the soundtracks, read the novels, read other novels and novellas by Irvin Welsh. It's safe to say that you and I are Trainspotting aficionados.
Yeah, this is quite an iconic opening scene, and I always think it's really important to have iconic opening scenes.
Well, you're in for a treat, Russ, because we're going to do the deepest dive yet. And the reason why we're here to talk about it, as we've mentioned several times on the channel, is this. We're here to talk about the physical media release itself. Here it is from Criterion in this very odd digipack. I was hoping for a thicker, sturdier digipack like they normally do. This one is a little bit of a weird sort of like folded cardboard sleeve that on mine is already really dented. Yeah! Before we dive into our thoughts, let's just give the people at home a little context. This is a film that came out in 1996 from Danny Boyle. His second directorial effort, his first one was Shallow Grave, which I watched after I watched Trainspotting, because obviously.
Same.
And I was kind of like, okay, like I see, something
I see you in McGregor.
Yeah, I see him there.
It became one of the most important things in my life at the time, was being Danny Boyle's actor and in a film produced by Andrew McDonald and written by John Hodge.
But he really kind of went in a really like supercharged direction when he decided to do Trainspotting. And it was based on a book by Irvin Welsh, and that was his debut novel, which I think I forgot about. And I have that right here. This is my original copy that I bought of Trainspotting. It's still in pretty good condition. This was after I saw the movie back in 1997. I really wish, and I'll be jealous if you have the original cover.
No, that's
I know, dude. That original cover's awesome. All the actors were unknown leads to me. Probably people knew them maybe a little bit more in the UK from some of their, maybe smaller prior work. Ewan McGregor, Johnny Lee Miller, Ewan Bremner, Kevin McKidd, Robert Carlyle, and Kelly MacDonald.
This was 96, I was 14. I've discussed my love for Natural Born Killers, which was controversial as well. But I remember specifically in 96, it was Bob Dole running against Bill Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
And Bob Dole specifically called out Trainspotting. And that was like the greatest advertisement they could have ever had. Because I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. The Republican presidential nominee just said it's, terrible for people. Yes.
Because it upsets people, partly. And I think you've got to disrupt the spectacle a bit sometimes.
I'm not a huge reader. Most of the novels or books or anything that I've ever been compelled to read were usually because I watched the movie first. Because when I bought this and read this was one of those times where not only was I so enamored with the movie, but I became enamored with this author, his writing style.
It's just a new voice, and just every so often you come across a voice that's unique, new, disturbing, irrational, unpleasant, wonderful.
And as you can see here, Russ,
I did the same thing, I know.
I bought literally every one of the books that he had up until that point, and then some others.
At the time, I owned Acid House was available. I believe Filth was not out yet.
No. Basically, I'm just really trying to prove that we're huge fans. This is going to be an unbiased review.
I love how Matt pointed out, hey, I don't read, then he pull out a fucking library.
Pull out my library! After watching this movie and then reading the book, it's very easy to visualize the movie.
That's what we tried to bring to the film. We tried to make the film immediate. It wasn't judgmental. It wasn't like holding them at a distance. It's actually, you felt like you feel when you read the book.
It's definitely different as far as like the narration. It's all different point of view chapters. There's characters in this book that are not in this movie. They really took this novel and reduced it down to 90 like pure raw minutes of film.
One thing I'll say about the Trainspotting novel, I wouldn't describe it as focused. Honestly, the Trainspotting novel almost does work as separate short stories.
It does.
But like I said, think about how difficult that is to do an adaptation on.
We felt we had two choices. There was either to sort of go through the Robert Altman shortcuts way and have lots of overlapping stories, rather like the novel is, or we could do something and try and make a more traditional sort of linear narrative of some kind.
You had to find a structure, find a narrative, and keep that energy of the book. And I swear, I think it's one of the best adaptations of all time. That movie should be a mess, dude, off of what it's based on. And the fact that they streamlined it all through Renton, and it makes complete sense. Think about other adaptations of books you've read. Trainspotting is one of the best. It doesn't get depressing.
No.
It doesn't turn into Requiem for a Dream. There's still a fun, I don't care, this movie's fun as hell. Even when he's withdrawing.
I don't know that. I think it's funny.
It was almost to me like they were presenting it as it's a point. Like, yes, withdrawal is terrible. Look what he's fucking going through. But like I said, it wasn't some harrowing experience that we're focusing on, this dour and down. They even say in the movie, if heroin was all about that, we wouldn't fucking do it.
It was probably shocking to hear people saying that drugs were good, you know? Though everybody knew that.
Every other movie you watch always is Basketball Diaries, Requiem for a Dream. It's always this like, holy shit, why would anyone touch the damn thing? Whereas this movie, it's like, nah, let's take the comedic approach.
I will agree with your take on this not being Requiem for a Dream. It's not an experience where I'm like, I want to go watch that again anytime soon. No. This movie I could watch repeatedly, but like you said, there are moments where they make a point. After all the fun you're watching them have, this right here is a serious drawback. Not that they're trying to do that, but I think they're trying to portray all of it. I don't think they're like, we got to make sure that we show this kind of problem and this kind of problem.
Yeah, I don't think it's concerned with that at all. I think that's the brilliance of it, because to me, it's almost not even about heroin. I know people get pissed off about that, but it's about being a lowlife. Begbie's not on heroin.
All these fucking chemicals. No fucking weed.
No, he's an addict of a different kind, but he is kind of a lowlife.
That's what I'm saying. To me, this is more a celebration of scumbaggery and degeneracy.
Aye.
And when you couple it with a pop soundtrack, putting it the way that they did in the movie is what allowed more people to say they're glorifying these acts. Because when you have fun music behind it, it's kind of like, hey, this is fun and everything that's going on is fun.
And not only that, there is no real drawback or anti-drug message shoved in your face. So it's very easy to look at it as glamorization.
Yeah. These are both my CDs. Anyone at home own CDs?
I have no idea where they are.
That's nice.
So the orange one is all tracks from the movie, but it is actually missing a couple, which always bothered me. And then they decided to put this one out, which awesome. Then they filled in all the holes that you were missing and gave you some songs that inspired the filmmakers when they made the movie. But not only is this one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, but I guess I didn't even realize either how big this soundtrack was for this movie at the time. And I think helped propel this movie a little bit.
Obviously, when it came out originally and we picked it up, the orange one was the only one available.
Yeah.
Were you disappointed like I was? I remember going through it like, where's that fucking song when he's withdrawing?
Oh.
I don't feel the sickness yet, but it's in the post, that's for sure.
They did put it on the green one, and I was like, thank you. That was the only thing I was really looking for.
And that is an awesome song, too. Well, I highly recommend picking both these up. We're about 30 years late, but do it anyway if you haven't heard these. They're excellent soundtracks, and I think that's another reason why this ends up in my top 5, just like Pulp Fiction does. There's just all the elements are there. You've got the story, you've got the visuals, you've got the music, the direction, like everything about what the plot is, the story is, the pacing of it. This is just one of those, and I feel like obviously the characters are all very interesting. Who would you say your favorite character is?
I don't know. This isn't a movie where like I have favorite characters.
My favorite character has always been Begbie.
This is a clip from Trainspotting.
Look, I'm not a fucking buffy and that's the end of it.
I like everyone.
I mean, I do too. I'm so
There's
happy
not
when
one
they're all-
character in that movie where I'm like, oh God, here they come.
No, definitely not. I guess I just always gravitated towards Begbie. And it's
Begbie's the funniest.
He is, and that's kind of funny too, because Renton's like the hero, so to speak, and he's the one we're kind of going through this journey with. And like you said, he is a scumbag. He's not a good person, but we like him anyway.
He's a scumbag in denial.
Yeah, true.
That's why he's the lead, because he's delusional. He thinks he's above everyone else.
For whatever reason, Begbie just, even with his outbursts and his violence and just his delivery and all that kind of
His
stuff.
eyes.
Oh yeah, he's crazy.
It's just the look in his eyes.
And he's small.
Yeah, that's probably that.
And he's crazy.
Yeah.
It's shit.
I'd seen in my eyes this monstrous big guy. And this was Danny's words. He said, small psychos are the best.
Oh, pussy got glassed and no cunt leaves here till we find out what cunt did it.
Maybe on the commentary or something where they're talking about casting him, and Robert Carlyle's like, I don't know that this is me, you know, like I don't think this works. And he's like, no, like small psychos are great.
He's a great actor, man.
I've seen him in The Beach, and he's basically Begbie again in it.
Bastard parasites! Viruses! That's fucking right, cancers! Bastard cancers!
I was with McGregor on that one. I skipped it. I watched A Life Less Ordinary. I saw that in the theater because of Trainspotting, and Life Less Ordinary is
not great. No Kelly MacDonald. You know what's crazy? She's in like 1.5 scenes. You just associate this movie so much with her, but she's really in it. Probably like less than 5 minutes screen time. But she's so impactful. She's just like, I guess that just goes to show all the different characters are just so wonderful, and they really like populate this world that makes it so great. Kevin McKidd is awesome. Ewan Bremner, awesome. Can't really understand him too well.
And I wanted to put across the general idea rather than the details. Like, people get all hung up on details. Like, which school did I go to? How many O grades did I get? Could be like 6, could be none. It's not important. What is important is that I am, yes?
Ewan Bremner, I think, is a little underrated in it. He's so great at that. Imagine somebody else's Spud. You can't do it. He perfectly encapsulates that character.
Not just these great characters and this great dialogue and this interesting story that you're kind of like watching along with, but just the world itself, that Scotland, Glasgow, London, like all the different places they go, how they show all the squalor, how they show the drug dens and things that they go to, and Tommy's apartment that goes from kind of decent into like literally a shithole. It's very real in a way, but it's also very surreal in a way. Like, obviously there's a lot of scenes in Trainspotting that are, you know, in someone's probably imagination. Or just as an example, the toilet scene, which if you have seen it, you obviously know it's very iconic. But they hit you with that like 10 minutes in. You almost like don't know what's gonna happen next after that, and I really like that feeling of like uncertainty. And you know, when he like sinks into the carpet that time, and like you said, the withdrawal point, there's like a lot of like montages that are a little bit surreal. They take so many chances, and everything just works so well. It just gives this film such a great personality. What's not to like about this movie? Absolutely nothing.
You're on good ground, really, because you'll never have any regrets if love's involved, you know?
If you're watching this for the first time and you haven't seen Trainspotting before, this is obviously a movie that is spoken in Scottish, not just Scottish, but Scottish slang. It can be very hard to hear. I don't know if that's something that would turn most people off, but it can be very difficult to digest what dialogue is going on, even if you put subtitles on, because it's the slang that sometimes you don't know what it is that people are saying.
You're doing a great job of selling it. You're not going to understand a fucking thing.
Pick it up now. Packaging sucks, can't understand it, buy it now.
And I prefer the version where you really can't understand it.
I do. Obviously, if you are bothered by heroin use at all, I would not watch this movie. They show it in great detail in many different ways.
Towards the middle, when Renton, moves to, where's he, London? It's not long, but that for a brief second, it's kind of like, all right, I want Begbie back. I want Sick Boy back. I don't want to watch Renton pretend anymore.
But it's also like the cycle continuing again. Like that happens like 2 or 3 times in the movie where he gets in the right path and for a little bit of time, and then the friends come back in and right back into it.
And I know people have asked us this in the comments. That element is one reason why I give Trainspotting 2 the thumbs up. The ending of Trainspotting 2 nailed Renton.
Trainspotting 2? We're going to talk about Trainspotting 2 now? We're talking about Trainspotting 2.
So if we do make like a sequel to it, it would be because there's a really strong idea that we're in love with about it making, rather than just do it for the cash or whatever.
It nailed what we're talking about. Renton finally got it through his fucking head at the end of Trainspotting 2. That, nah, dude, you're a loser. And I love that. I thought that was perfect. I think it's brave.
No, well... Just to wrap up this film, Russ, before we jump into the physical media aspects, whether people thought it glamorized drugs or not, it was a total smash. It really opened up the careers of literally everyone involved. They went from no one I knew to people are damn near winning Academy Awards.
Oscar winners, yeah.
Danny Boyle went on to direct, like you said, A Life Less Ordinary, which I did not like. The Beach, with, like I said, Begbie, 28 Days Later, Slumdog Millionaire, Sunshine, which was a little uneven, but I liked it. It was like a sci-fi, like space drama. 127 Hours, I forgot he did that too, with James Franco. Steve Jobs, Michael Fassbender. I actually really enjoyed that movie.
I did too, actually.
And then, like you mentioned, Trainspotting 2, which I did watch. And, you know, it's all right, but deep down in your heart, you know it's just shite. Not going to talk about it.
No, we are, real quick.
Yeah, this is what we're going to talk about. This.
No, fuck that. This doesn't even have to do with...
This is the true sequel to Trainspotting, not T2.
That's probably right enough.
Aye, probably right enough. Right answer.
This is the sequel book to Trainspotting. It's called Porno. When they were making Trainspotting 2, I was actually really interested to see if they were going to adapt this, which actually has a female lead character who is not present in the first movie. Also, more of a main character is Sick Boy. Renton is in this, but not a lot. There is a Begbie and Spud, big presence as well. But it was a really interesting novel, and I really enjoyed it. Maybe not as much as the first Trainspotting. Very entertaining and fun to read. It's maybe not as chaotic as a read as the original Trainspotting, but I really would recommend this if you hadn't read this book yet.
You know why it's not as chaotic?
Go ahead, say your piece on Trainspotting 2, Russ.
You're taking the characters of the original film and giving them a midlife crisis.
Which I didn't like.
But that's exactly what they would be.
That doesn't mean the movie's good.
It could be. But my thing is, you reject the premise of it existing rather than judging the film. I'm with you. I don't want a Trainspotting sequel in existence, but I live in a reality where it does. It doesn't have a chance of being the original, and everyone involved wisely knew that.
Unwisely made it anyway. I'm biased on the sequel. It pissed me off that it even was made. I like the intent that, okay, we waited 25 years because this is how old they all would have been. Like you said, there's no way it's going to hit the same way for me, and I hope this isn't spoiling anything for the original movie or whatever, but the whole Renton and Begbie fight to the death showdown and like the broken down apart, like high rise or whatever, like I know that's like the ultimate end thing that has to happen based on the plot, but it's like, it was too like action movie or something. I didn't like that. That bothered me.
I'm not saying it's perfect. It could have been so much worse. If you're a drug addict in your early 20s, 20 years later, your life's going to be shit.
That's the thing.
And
it's
it's
like,
still
I feel like I wanted my mind to fill in the blanks after Trainspotting.
But that's where I said you reject its existence rather than judging the film.
That's like trying to be your 22-year-old self again. It's not possible.
So Russ, we're back to this. Here's what we're here to talk about now. So right off the bat, the packaging is not great. I haven't seen a single positive comment.
I haven't either. Not even in real life. I know a friend of mine in real life did the same exact thing I had to do. We sent it back.
Yeah.
Damaged immediately through the mail.
I'm still interested to see this glow in the dark, how this all works out.
My first edition came in damaged glue in the dark.
Yep.
Glue in the dark.
It glue in the dark.
That's the past tense of glow.
But I've seen some people comment that it's got some eco packaging and it's maybe an attempt to, go a little bit green, but it's just not working. Mine's damaged, yours came in damaged. It's just not working. And I think in theory this was probably a good idea, but in practice when they got this, I wonder if even Criterion was like, oh shit, what have we done? This is gonna be a problem.
If the packaging was a little sturdier, it probably would work. For that price, it deserves to be sturdier.
It does. No, I agree.
That's insane. That should be $19.99.
There was a lot of concern about this transfer, and there was a lot of side-by-sides that were shown with a green tint versus what the original one was, which was very vibrant, lots of colors, very hyper-realistic. And then someone was commenting like, Trainspotting shouldn't be a David Fincher movie.
Just don't jerk me off, that's all I ask. Don't jerk me off.
I've seen a lot of reviews just saying how different it is. Be prepared. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. A lot of people that said, I want the old thing back or whatever. I will 100% agree that it is not the VHS, DVD, or Blu-ray that came before it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was like watching it for the very first time. Everything to me felt super real, super natural, so that all the moments that are like really real and like dank and dirty felt like even more dank and dirty. Before, everything was super blown out and colorful and bright. The UK, like those clouds are gray and dreary looking. It is gray and dreary looking there. If this is what Danny Boyle's original vision was, for all I know, this is how it looked in the theater. Is it up to him to put out what he wants, or does he have to stay true to what you watched 20 years ago? I don't know. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I never really felt like anything was green or overdone. I felt like I said, like watching it for the first time. If you were on the fence, I don't think it's as egregious as people are making it out to be. Let me know if you agree. I don't know. I know there's a lot of people that were already kind of pissed off about it. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, that was good.
There are some other nitpicks that I do have with the disc. One is that the subtitles, as of the first 10 minutes at least, had many grammatical errors as well as the slang words, as an example. You told me the last time when you heard the word "doss cunt."
Fuck yeah, dude. I was a little 14-year-old American running around calling everybody I saw a "doss cunt."
Fuck off!
Doss cunt!
And it literally in the book says Doss cunt, D-O-S-S cunt, but in the subtitles, for some reason they're calling it gallus cunt, G-A-L-L-U-S. And it wasn't like they were trying to clean it up to make it more understandable. No one knows what gallus cunt means. So there's that. So if you're somebody that was hoping to watch the subtitles while you watch this film, you're not getting accurate subtitles, at least for the first 10 minutes.
To be fair, though, I think anybody who requires subtitles to watch Trainspotting is probably a Doss cunt.
The biggest thing that I was hoping for, Russ, and I was depressed to find out does not exist, is the original audio. Now, I was hoping that, Criterion themselves, they were going to be able to, include this, get this, whatever it might be, but they did not. And that was one of my only hopes and dreams, was to get the original audio back, modified slightly for American audiences so some people can understand what Begbie is saying better, so people can understand what Spud is saying better. That whole intro speech that Renton gives is also a little bit different. And I get that, you don't want to start the movie off not understanding what the main guy is saying.
Yeah, at least give the option. I don't understand that. I mean, just, do I want it dumbed down or do I want the original?
Or maybe there'll be another company in the near future, like a Second Sight. Maybe a company in the near future over in the UK that has the rights to this, that can come and do something great for this film that was not maybe completely done here. I would love a hard box of Trainspotting. Yeah. I would love to get that original audio. I mean, the transfer's great. Don't mess with that. I absolutely love it. But as far as everything else Criterion usually brings, I was a little lukewarm. I mean, the features are great. There's a lot of stuff there from prior, and like one or two new things, which are all very nice. Don't get me wrong. But as a whole, this being one of my top 5 films of all time, just not there. I would say if the transfer wasn't great, this would be the biggest disappointment of my life.
You've had a cushy life, Matt.
Because the transfer is at least good and I enjoy it, I'm going to give this maybe like a B-, C+.
The whole packaging debacle has soured me on even wanting to rewatch it or check it out. I'll get to it, but at this point, I'm ready to put Trainspotting on the back burner for a minute.
Yeah.
And if Second Sight does, since they're partnered up with Criterion, if they put out something similar to what they did with Mean Streets, I'll definitely pick that up.
If anyone has never seen this movie, you have to watch it at least once. Again, it might not be for everybody. It might be something that you dislike, but it's definitely an experience to have. If you're someone who seeks out movies, is interested in what's out there, and you haven't seen this, make the time, watch this film. Forget about T2. This is the only one you need.
And definitely forget about T3. That was the one with the female Terminator, and they destroyed the world at the end of it. The franchise really went downhill after that one.
And if you like this review, let us know. If you want to see more reviews from us, let us know that too. Let us know what you'd like to see us review. We've got a lot on the way. But again, Trainspotting, thank you for the memories. Criterion, do better. Let us know if you did like this. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Matt. This is Russ. We'll see you next time.
Choose life. Oh, it's such a perfect day. I'm glad I spent it with you. I never cared about that one. Like when the credits start rolling.
Yeah. And he says all the James Bond movies. Dr. No.
Holy shit! I don't think I've ever listened to the entire song. I never even listened to that.
Dude, it rocks. It starts to go off at the end.
I don't remember any of that shit.